I receive a lot of feedback from Mark Burke in Hartford, Connecticut. And so, Mark, I always appreciate your kind remarks. I appreciate your questions. And I want to apologize for taking so long to get back to this good question. I think it's a common question that's asked a lot. And so, your question is, how do you maintain your indifference when you're interviewing sharp candidates for your company? So, let's dive into indifference. What is indifference? Well, if you look up the definition, it's going to say it's a lack of interest or concern, right? That's the definition of indifference. And so we're introduced to indifference as a new sales rep coming in. Like, listen, you got to learn the factors of impulse, right? You got to learn the Fujis, and the I stands for indifference. And so think of commission breath, right? I remember hearing that term. I'm like, oh, that's a good term. If the customer can smell the commission breath, like, sure smells like you really want me to buy this, right? There's something fishy about this. You could end up sabotaging the sale because of your commission breath, right? So that's really where indifference comes from. But the question is, are you really indifferent? Like, do you really, truly not care whether the customer buys or not? Or your question, Mark, do you truly not care whether the person that you're interviewing is going to start with your company? So let's break this down. Maybe I can substitute the word indifference with being cool, right? Because if indifference is a lack of interest, a lack of concern, well, no, I am interested, I am concerned, but I want to be cool. I don't want people smelling commission breath on me, right? And I think being cool is a result of two things, right? If you got two things working your way, you're going to be cool. One is I've got confidence and a strong belief in my work ethic. Right? I'm going to keep going. I'm met with a rejection. I'm met with a no. I'm going to keep going. Right? And the second thing is confidence and belief in the law of averages. It's not the maybe of averages or the hope of averages. It's the law of averages. You flip a coin enough times, eventually it's going to work out to a 50-50 mix. So if you've got confidence in those two arenas, of course you're going to be cool. So be cool instead of indifferent. So here's why I want to substitute the word indifference. Like, I don't care. Substitute indifference with being cool, because indifference can be very unauthentic. You're pretending you don't care when truly you do care. I think about when I met my wife, right? I wanted to date obviously we weren't married at the time. I wanted to date her. I wasn't going to pretend that I didn't care. I truly did care. But I want to be cool, right? I don't want to act as a desperado by any means, but I don't want to pretend anything. I want to be authentic. When I'm interviewing a really sharp candidate, listen, I'm not going to pretend that I don't care whether you start. And when I'm talking to a customer, I don't want to pretend that I don't care whether you buy or not. I truly do care. So I kind of want to lose the word indifference. I want the mentality of indifference. Again, think of being cool. Got the strong work ethic. I got belief in the law of averages. I am cool as a cucumber, but I don't necessarily like the word indifference because authentically, I truly do care. So let's try this approach rather than pretending to not care. Let's be cool. Okay, we talked about being cool, confidence in the work ethic, confidence in the law of averages, and let's work on our persuasiveness. Right? That's really what we want to do. We want to be persuasive. So again, I don't want to pretend that I don't care. I do care whether you start in the company or not, but I want to be persuasive. And the way you work on the persuasiveness is you have to articulate the win-wins. Like, don't be shy to tell somebody, listen, from everything I've heard, I think you'd be an awesome candidate for this company, and here's why. You're throwing them some nice compliments, obviously. You're not saying this to everybody. You're saying this to the people you really think are they've got a promising future here with us. So I'm going to be very clear on, I think you'd be great in the company. I want to work with you, and here's the reasons. And here's what you get out of the company. Let's articulate the win for you. Here's the win for us. Be smooth with that. Articulate the win-wins. I think if you're, again, just pretending to be indifferent, but you're not being persuasive, you're really losing the true intent of what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is you're trying to recruit, or in the field, you're trying to sell. But be cool and be persuasive. To me, that's much better than pretending to be indifferent.